Let's talk about the one thing no one wants to deal with, but everyone needs to. Email deliverability. Deliverability may not be sexy, but if you want your emails to land in the inbox, and I'm guessing if you're here you do, it's super important. I sat down with my friend Dawn from Flodesk to talk all things email deliverability and set the record straight if the email platform you're using is the reason you're landing in the spam folder or not. We're covering why the promotions tab is not the spam folder, the 4 things you must do if you want your emails to keep landing where they belong, and how to stop worrying about list size and start focusing on list quality. If you've ever wondered why some emails land in spam or felt like your emails are disappearing into a black hole, this is going to help.
You've got mail.
Hello and welcome. I'm Shannon, aka Mrs. Vondi, aka the Email Queen, and I fell in love with email when I sent one email and made $2,600. Since then, via my email club membership, I have helped hundreds of business owners use email to make thousands of dollars all in the time it takes to bake a batch of cookies. So today I am joined with my lovely friend Dawn from Flodesk. We are going to be talking all things email, Flodesk, and deliverability today. It's a candid conversation, so bear with us because we could talk about email for hours. Dawn, if we haven't met her, is the product education manager at Flodesk, where she creates easy to understand resources that help entrepreneurs and small business owners confidently grow with email marketing. So Dawn, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hello. I'm honored to be here, my friend. And we have had many of Instagram voice memos and DMs back and forth to each other. So it's nice that this is like officially happening because I feel like we've done this before, but maybe not officially.
I know. I'm so glad we are too, because I know we're hitting on a topic today that is has a lot of rumors around it and a lot of misinformation out there. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for us to get to set the record straight for a lot of people, because it's hard to know who to believe, what to trust, what to know, what, all the things. So if you're sitting there being like, I don't understand, I've heard this, I've heard that, Dawn and I are going to set the record straight for you today.
Yes.
I know there's been tons and tons of chatter, especially lately, around deliverability and the platform you use, the email platform you're using. So when I say that, I mean Flodesk, I'm talking MailChimp, MailerLite, Kit, any of these, and how it can affect your deliverability. And so we're going to let you know that basically the email platform you choose does not affect your deliverability.
Right.
Correct?
It's you. It's you.
It's you.
Let's take it. If we want to get really granular here, there's a lot of things that impact deliverability, right? And we're seeing over time, like these algorithms are shifting and things are becoming more of a priority. And where in the past something like your platform, your IP pool, things like that can impact it, it's becoming more sender reputation and behavior that's really driving recent results. And that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think there's a common misconception out there that like, oh, this platform is causing my emails to not land in the inbox or things like this, which first of all is not true. Like whatever email platform you're using is not like that's just not true. It's how you're using the platform. Mm-hmm. And yes, there can be glitches within platforms that will occasionally pop up. Like I know Klaviyo for a minute their coding, if you didn't have your coding exactly right, it was causing some deliverability issues. They have now fixed that from my understanding. I'm not a Klaviyo expert and neither is Dawn, but I know that they had some issues in the same way that there have been other issues, but 99.9% of the time it's probably, again, that's also kind of something you were doing wrong, but Klaviyo just wasn't making it super clear to their users at the time. So I think that that's something we just want to hit from the get-go. Sure. So while we're on this, let's talk about what is deliverability exactly and why should people care about it?
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing I want to say is there's a difference between delivery and deliverability. People interchange this, and it's a little interchangeable sometimes in some contexts, but not always, okay? So delivery refers to, did it leave your platform and get to your recipient's platform, okay? Did it land somewhere and not bounce back? That is a delivery, okay? And then deliverability tends to refer to where it landed, if it did, okay? So if you send 1,000 emails and 100 of them bounce back to you because their inbox is full or your content was blocked or some situation, that's a 90% delivery, okay? So people interchange these, or they see something and they're like, oh, my deliverability is 100%, but that's actually your delivery rate, not your deliverability. Your deliverability tends to refer to when it lands in a inbox or a folder that is not the spam folder, okay? Not the spam folder. The promotion folder is not the spam folder. That's a positive deliverability point there. That's a good place to land. The promotions folder is not a bad place to be, or the social tab, or wherever it is that you're landing based off of the content you're sending. Because guys, tough love here. If you're a business and you land in the promotions folder, Google did a good job. Here we go.
That's kind of where you belong. You're probably promoting.
Yes, in some way, shape, or form, or you have in your sender reputation, your history, things like that. Now, can it change? Sure, of course it can. And people, as you interact with different senders, you might notice them in your inbox. Like I know I interact with certain emails and it always lands in my inbox, even though Starbucks is always sending me a promotion every single time.
Exactly.
It will be in my inbox because I always open it because I just love to look at beautiful emails. And they always had beautiful emails. But that's another example too of like, you know, sender behavior, like how they're doing this, all that stuff. We'll get down there. We'll go down that path here shortly.
Absolutely. And I think before we go deeper to the promotions tab or any of the other tabs is really just an organizational tool within Gmail.
Right.
So no provider has control over where that's going to go. That's a Gmail thing. That's not that's not even necessarily a you thing. I mean, yes, you can do certain things to try and land more in the inbox, like Dawn's saying, interact with emails, all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it is literally just an organizational tool. And I will say probably 95% of the time when I go to my promotions tab, I'm going to shop. I'm going to look at what deals did Banana Republic have right now. And then I do see some of these promotions from other business owners in there. And sometimes I'm like, what's this? You know, and so I actually think in a weird way, it's kind of a good thing to be there. Like, maybe you don't want to be there all the time, but it's not bad. I would say it's not bad.
No, it's definitely not bad. And there's just a lot of confusion where people like will email us and be like, how do I get out of here? But like you're selling in every single email. I'm like, well, if you take a step back here, this is something really important to think about. If you think about inbox providers, so we're talking about Google, Yahoo, iCloud, Outlook, these inbox providers, they're honestly in the business of protecting their users. Okay.
Yep.
Think about those spammy emails that you get, like the really scary ones, the ones that look like Amazon or the ones that look like PayPal, and they're trying to get you to log into your bank account, like that kind of thing. Those are really scary and really malicious emails. Those emails are exactly what they're trying to prevent from getting in front of their audience. Now, this algorithm is evolving because those spammers, those spoofers are getting smarter and things are changing. Mm-hmm. And as that algorithm evolves to protect their users, us as business owners get caught in those traps sometimes. And we have to remember that just because it worked for us a couple years ago doesn't mean it's going to continue to work for us. We're going to have to adapt and evolve and adjust with these algorithms. And even in the past 6 months or so, we've noticed a very significant change, especially in Google. And Google tends to be the first of the platforms to make changes, and then we see the other ones follow suit over some time. So we've seen a big change in Google in the last 6 months. We're really leaning into, making sure we're sending to engaged subscribers, which we'll talk about here soon. But you have to adjust, and you cannot be in this place of, this worked for me before, why doesn't it work anymore? Because if we get stuck there, you're just going to be stuck and it's not going to work for you. You have to evolve, just like we evolved with the Instagram algorithm, and now they prioritize videos, now they prioritize carousels. Like, we have to adjust with the ebbs and flows because that's just how our industry works, and the same applies to email.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that, because it's 100% true. And I think it is easy to just get caught up in like, what did I do wrong? Why is this against me? And it's not necessarily that. It's there to protect you. Or those weird emails we get from like Gmails that are like, you're not ranking at the top of SEO pages. And I'm like, why are you sending this from a Gmail, bro? Like, you're clearly not a business, Right. So it's like all of that, it's trying to eliminate with all these new processes for our benefit.
Right. Exactly. To protect you.
At the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay. Now that we know this, let's talk a little bit about maybe common mistakes we're seeing inside of are creating deliverability issues.
For sure. I'm going to start with like the not fun one, and I just want to make sure that we talk about it because it's really important. 2024, some changes were made, and Google, Yahoo, the inbox providers required a new authentication protocol in order to say like I am a legitimate sender. Okay. Now, you might have heard of these before, DKIM records, SPF records, DMARC records. You have to add them to your domain. It's just that basically that like checklist that Google looks at it and says, oh, you're who you are who you say you are. Okay, like you're good to go. Now, that is important, and they made it a requirement for anybody sending over a certain volume in 2024. So the sirens were up, everybody was panicking because we have to authenticate this, right? And since then, it's become less of a nice to have for even those who don't send at that volume, and has become the very first must have. Yes, absolutely. And in order to authenticate your domain, you have to have a custom domain email. So this is where we're going here. If you are a business and you are sending from a free email address, that is your first red flag. Okay, like you mentioned, like this guy's sending me from a Gmail. Guys, spammers are not paying for these domains and authenticating them. Like, they're going and getting a free Gmail account. They're getting a Yahoo account or some weird account, right? They are using these free accounts to try to pretend to be somebody else. So if you want to be seen as legitimate, you need to be sending from a custom domain email address. So that ends in @yourdomainname.com. So Dawn@Flodesk.com is a custom domain. Hello@TechSavvyCreative, custom domain. Then once I have that custom domain email, I can have it authenticated, and that's going to be my first line of defense when it comes to deliverability and making sure I am seen as the person who I am and actually getting my content to my user. So do you have anything to add to that one? Because that's like my number one. Like we have to have.
Yeah, no, that is like the biggest, when somebody tells me they're having a deliverability issue, it's usually one of two things. They're either their domain is not authenticated properly, or they're using some sort of free email address. And I'm like, this is why you're starting to see deliverability issue. And you may not have before, right? Like that was something else I've seen people say like, oh, but it was fine. And I mean, you and I have talked about this in depth, and this is just a theory, but I actually theorize that in 2024, they started with the big, people who sent to a lot of big, tons of emails is what I'm trying to say, like big companies, things like that. And now they've kind of worked their way down to the smaller guys. And so now that's why a year and some later, we're starting to see more deliverability issues. And when that's not authenticated, you're not landing in the proper places because they're now catching up. So, and again, that's just a theory of my own. It's not necessarily 100% accurate. It's just, I think that that's what's happening. And that's why we're seeing the problem. So the other thing that's really cool about being authenticated, this isn't just punishment for y'all. It's also, my friend says, it's like putting sunscreen on, right? Like before you go outside. What it does is it also protects your domain, that no one can back end get in there and send from your domain.
Right.
Like she gave a whole example. I actually have another YouTube on this. I'll link for you guys here, but that basically her husband worked for a university and somebody was able to backdoor get into that email and send emails like they were the university. And so we don't want that, right? We don't want anyone to pretend they're us. So that it's just another safety precaution, honestly.
Absolutely. And so important.
Yeah. So other things, I have a free health checklist too. If you're like sitting there being like, wait, I need to know. And the domain one is in there.
Start there.
So if you need to grab that, feel free to grab the free checklist and you can make sure you're good. But a few other ones we want to make sure you all are doing that really help. And I'll let you take this one because I know you just say it so well. And is really like cleaning your list is a big one.
Yes. Here's the thing, guys. If somebody is not opening your emails, it's time to say goodbye. You have to get rid of these unengaged subscribers, okay? And this is a common conversation, and this is the hill that I will die on this season because this is where we are seeing the biggest impact and the biggest changes. Google explicitly says this in their sender reputation documentation. They talk about sending to unengaged subscribers and how important it is for you to remove subscribers who are not engaging with your emails. It says that in their documentation. It doesn't say anything about image to text ratio. It doesn't say anything about that, but it does say you need to get rid of people that are not opening your emails. So If you want some proof, go Google that sender reputation document. It's all in there. But if you are somebody who is emailing people that are not emailing that are emailing people who are not engaging in your emails, you are doing nothing but signaling to these inbox providers that people don't want your emails. And what ends up happening are the people who do want to receive your emails might not receive them anymore because the people who are not opening your emails are waving that bad flag to Google that like people don't want this. So Google's going to start sending you to the spam folder or block you altogether, which is something that does happen. We see it. We see bounce codes for people just having their content blocked because of sender reputation. It happens. Yeah. And so getting in the habit of cleaning your list every 90 days, every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever that is, get in the habit and start getting rid of the subscribers. Now, how you want to do that is totally up to you. Do you want to unsubscribe them? That's an option. Do you want to delete them entirely? That's also an option. Or do you want to move them to a cold segment? That's also an option. It's totally up to you. Now, with the cold segment, that's what a lot of people like to do. They're like, oh, you have to keep them, right? They move them to the cold segment to attempt to re-engage them. But you have to keep in mind, guys, that sometimes re-engaging a cold audience can be really damaging for your sender reputation. So do this with caution. And we can talk about re-engagement here soon and what we do at Flodesk, because we have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And we'll go and do a re-engagement every once in a while. But we're very strategic about it because we want to make sure that we're not damaging our domain reputation. But get in that habit, get rid of those people. And this is actually something that I talk about a lot in the Flodesk community because Flodesk is a fantastic tool. I use it for my own businesses. I have made multi-six figures thanks to my email list. Like, it's been wonderful. But Flodesk has unlimited subscribers. So we see a lot of users who don't purge their subscribers because they don't have to. They're not paying for them, right? They're not paying for them, so they don't get rid of them. They just continue to send them, and in turn, things get not great, right? They start damaging their sender reputation because they're engaging with people that are not engaging back. So, especially Flodesk users, please start cleaning your list.
Yes. Clean your list, especially on Flodesk, even if they're free. For now. Yes. That's a whole nother conversation. For now. But, the crazy thing here too is that once you start seeing that sender reputation, I think that's where the like rumors and chatter gets started that like, I mean, it could apply to any platform, but in this case, since we're talking about Flodesk, they start to think it's Flodesk and it's actually the way they're using the platform.
Totally.
And it's not it's not Flodesk, y'all. No. It's not.
The thing is like, regardless of what platform you're on, if you're going to behave these ways that the inbox providers don't like, you're going to experience something different.
Exactly.
And here's the thing too, and we see this a lot. Well, like people will make the jump. They'll go somewhere else. Okay. Well, the funny thing I hear is when they make the jump, a lot of times they only bring their engaged subscribers, which always cracks me up. I'm like, okay, so like you move the platform. Or you
could have just cleaned.
It's fine, but if you're going to only bring over your engaged subscribers and you're only emailing to people that open your emails, of course you're going to see a natural increase in your open rates and your sender reputation, you know? So that's the first thing that we see people do is they go to a platform that they have to pay for a subscriber and they clean out their subscribers because they don't want to pay for them, which is totally fine. Like, we want you to be successful in your email marketing no matter what. So do whatever you need to do, but know that by getting rid of your unengaged subscribers, you're going to help your sender reputation. You're going to help your metrics. You're going to help all of those things. Now, also, when you move from one IP pool to another, so this is getting kind of like weird in the back end and how these things work. But if you move from one IP pool to the other, oftentimes these providers see you as new and they're not really sure what to do with you at first. So you might send an email from a new platform and they're like, oh, and like you might have like a really great placement and all of these things, right? And as they get to figure you out, if you continue the same practices, the same bad practices, you'll see yourself tank over there too. So just know grass isn't always greener. Like you still have to take the good habits. You can't run from your deliverability.
Yes. You can't run from bad deliverability. No. Like you have to fix the problem. Right. I saw this actually happen in live time. A girl told me, she was like, oh, I was seeing deliverability problems with Flodesk, so I moved to a new platform. And now it's fine. Now I'm seeing great. And I was like, ooh, you're actually probably still going to see problems. It's just because it's brand new. You're on a new IP. So it doesn't know what to do with you. So it's giving you better results.
Right.
And I'm like, But as soon as it figures you out and it starts to read your domain and goes, oh no, wait, this sender has flags, because you bring that deliverability, like those issues with you to a new platform. So it's really important you figure out what's going on, because the biggest thing here is if you keep hopping platforms over and over and you don't fix the issues, your domain will get blocked.
That's not good.
And there's no fixing it. You
gotta get
have
a new
to get
one.
a new domain.
It's not fun. Nobody wants to get a new domain, guys. Don't do it.
Yeah. So let's just figure out what the problems are. So I think that's a perfect way for us to talk about, like, maybe we can talk about some sending reputation. So obviously we want to make sure our domains are authenticated.
Yes.
That's number one. We want to make sure our email list is clean. And obviously there's many ways to take them off. I totally agree with Dawn. You want to be careful about removing them and re-engaging a cold subscriber list. I think it depends on how many you're getting rid of, how long it has maybe been since they've opened. I had a pretty small one. I think I removed about 500 from mine, because I started to see, this is another thing I was going to say. You can I track my emails. So I write down my stats separately every time I send an email, so I can always just look at them. And so when I start to see that open rate go down, what actually happened to me is I send my emails on Fridays. So I went in on a Friday and I saw my open rate was like 9%. Like a couple hours after I sent, and I was like, what happened? I literally in all my life, 5 years of sending emails, I've never seen a 9% open rate. And of course, over the weekend, it bumped itself up, but I think it only got up to like 29 or 30, which again is still a pretty good average open rate. But for me, it's not. Yeah. For me, that was kind of crappy.
Yeah.
So I was like, and because I track my stats and my data, I knew this right away. And I was like, oh, it's time to clean this list. And so I knew, and I started, then I removed 500, and literally within one email, I back up to like 50, 60%, So it's like, but what I did with those 500 is I then put them through a sequence, because it wasn't that many. Now, if we're talking hundreds of people, yes, we want to be very strategic. We don't have enough time to go into how to do that today.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, if y'all like this, let us know, and maybe we'll hop on and do that sometime.
Do it again.
We'll do one about just how to re-engage your cold list. But when I did re-engage my cold list, I had a couple people actually reply and ask to still be on my list.
For sure. And for you, Shannon, because you're consistent, because you're doing this, like, you are in a healthy state to re-engage. Yeah. What a lot of people do is they clean up their list and they haven't emailed in months, and then they attempt to re-engage before they've established the healthy habits. That's where people get really in trouble. And like, especially as we go into Black Friday season, like, this is the biggest mistake I see people make. They've neglected their list for the year. Like, they haven't emailed anybody. And then all of a sudden November comes around and they're like, oh, it's Black Friday, I got to email everybody. And they blast their email list. Well, one, you have no sender reputation at this point because you haven't emailed them. Google doesn't know what the heck to do with you. You just emailed your whole list who has not engaged with you in a year, and you're just earned yourself a one-way ticket to the spam folder, right? And then recovering from something like that is really hard. And we always see it. And that's why, like, this is the time of year, like, I'm starting to talk about, like, let's get ready for Black Friday in July because, like, we got to start doing these habits. And because another piece to this, like, we talk about building that reputation. There's something called warming, which could be a whole other topic on itself, but like slowly building that. I know, I'm like, we'll be here forever. Building that trust over time, letting Google and Yahoo know that you are legitimate, you're trustworthy, and then being consistent. That consistency matters. But if you think you're going to come out the gate on Black Friday and blast your list with an email, you are going to have a rough time. Okay. Just, we're just going to be honest with you here. So you just got to be strategic about it. You have to nurture it. You have to take care of it and choose something that's really consistent for you, that you can stay consistent. You know, like you said, every Friday, like you send your emails, engaging with your audience, really leaning into that strategy. So when you do have something to offer, like, you can land where you want to be. And especially during Black Friday time, like, it's just kind of a crazy time. Like, the millions and millions of emails that are sent are just insane. But you want to make sure you set yourself up for success so you don't just completely tank your sender reputation in the process.
Exactly. And I think that, deliverability aside, even with Black Friday, if you're not getting your list prepped for it, it's kind of like being that user friend, you know, who just calls you when they want something or like wants money.
Now's a convenient time.
And so I think it's just is good practice business wise
Right.
overall to start thinking about, okay, if I want to sell over Black Friday weekend or over the holidays in general, when people are most active and most purchasing, we have to think about warming them up in general and sending them emails and not just showing up when we want something.
Absolutely.
That's
And
a mistake I made for a long time.
We've all made the mistakes. We've all been there, you know.
fine.
And on that same note, and I'm going to segue this a little bit here, but like talking about like using your audience, right? You want to make sure that you're sending the right content to the right people. You know, you don't want to just blast everybody with all of the things all of the time. Like every time I hear the word email blast, I almost cringe a little bit because it's like, ooh, like we don't want to do that. Like obviously you're sending in mass, and if you have a lot of subscribers, it's a lot of people. But if you can lean into segmentation, segmenting your audience based off of what they've purchased, what they've clicked on, things they've interacted with, things that they're interested in, you are going to see results that will just change the trajectory of your business, right? So let's take like a photography example. If I asked at one point in time, like, what's your dream photo shoot location? And I say like, is it a studio, like a white studio with natural light, or is it in a big dreamy field, or is it in a manicured garden, whatever? I can ask you that, and based off of what you click, I can segment you into different audiences. Well, if I know that you love that bright white studio and I'm launching family photos in the bright white studio, I have an audience that I know already wants this, right? I'm not sending it to people that don't want that. Like I have an audience that's primed, that's ready for me, and they are going to be more eager to want to engage with my email, but also buy from me because I'm sending them information that's relevant to them. I'm speaking to them. I'm not just throwing information at them that's not relevant. You know, like have we ever gotten that email? Like you get these emails and you buy something from an email, but then a couple hours later you get another email that tells you to buy that thing that you just bought. Like, oh, like maybe I was a victim of a marketing scheme. Like, you know, like that was like when you realize like, oh, I fell for it. Like I was marketed to and it worked. Like, and that's fine because that's what marketers do. That's what or business owners and things like that. But like you want them to feel heard, seen, and that's what's going to create loyal subscribers, people that are going to engage with you consistently, and people that are going to ultimately buy from you. So
Absolutely.
Step away from the blast mentality and focus on getting the right message to the right person at the right time.
I love that you said that.
All of it.
Because I'm always like, I see so many, and this was a little bit of an old school thought. It was like, grow, 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 right? Like, I know there's some like gurus, email, like I call them like the celebrity entrepreneurs that are out there that like preach things like, you can't sell till you have 500 people on your list. And I'm like, I hate that mentality.
No, I don't like that either.
Because... Yeah, exactly. Because you're just going to try and grow your list full of anyone and everyone to get to that 500 number.
Yeah.
Whereas I have seen, and I'm sure you have too, John, seen insane results from very small numbers.
Yes.
Like I'm talking $14,000 to 100 people because it's a very targeted and specific ideal client on that list.
Yes.
So I think if you've been around and emailing for a while and that was something you have heard or thought you needed to do, or like you're trying to hit those numbers, like you only sell to 2% of your list, which is another one that drives me insane because mathematically okay, but we're talking about people who are saying this have lists of like hundreds of thousands of people. Again, I think Dawn and I have both proved this wrong 1,000 times over. So like it's more that you want to attract the right people to your list. And like I always say, you want to get your ideal clients on your email list. It's not a bunch of strangers. It's not this group of just random people you're emailing. It's your ideal client. Yeah. So you're going to see much better deliverability. You're going to see much better sales if you just attract the right people to your email list.
Yes, exactly. And I shared an example from my own email list last week on my Instagram story. But like when you send those targeted messages and you lean into that, I sent a relatively small, it was like 1,000 people, which is not small for some, but it had almost a 90% open rate and a 30% click rate, which is unheard of in comparison to like what industry like averages
Standard.
are. But for me as a business owner, like that's what I needed. Like I was nurturing my audience. They obviously were interested. And if they're clicking on it, they see it. So it's not in a place that it's bad, right? So that's where I'm getting that good feedback and like, okay, this is working for me. But just know that that's not like normal, like like if you just send an email after like not nurturing your list and like taking care of them, like you're not going to see an open rate that's 90%. Like that doesn't happen, guys. But when you lean into
Unless
these
you're maybe
strategies,
sending to 10 people.
Yeah, maybe if you're lucky. But if you are leaning into these strategies, those are real numbers that we're seeing across the board. So it's really, really cool to see it happen.
I love it. Well, okay, amazing. I know we're hitting time here, so I just want to say a little recap for everything. So things we want to do for better deliverability. First of all, it's not your platform. It's not your platform.
No, it's probably you.
How you're using the platform.
Yes.
And that means we want to be sure we are authenticating our domains. Mm-hmm. If you need help with this, I have a video on it. I know you guys have a ton of videos on them. Like, Google it. You can absolutely get this set up in seconds in your provider. It's not complicated. We want to be growing our list full of ideal people. We want to clean our lists of people who do not interact with our emails. And
they can always come back, guys. Okay? Remember that.
Come back.
Okay? Just because you remove somebody doesn't permanently ban them. Okay? So don't panic.
Ooh, that's a whole nother topic of not making them cold, because then if they do want to come back and they can't, that's a whole thing. Yeah. But we'll have to do one on that eventually.
Oh, yeah.
But then, yeah. So I feel like we had another one. Do we have another one?
Well, we talked indirectly about warming, but then segmenting.
Warming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And segmenting your list. Yes.
And segmenting your list to make sure. And I mean, I think you can do this in a very basic way. I think sometimes we get a little scared of the segmenting thing.
Oh, yeah.
But it could be as simple as, are you interested in photography or weddings? They don't have to be crazy, insane segments. Exactly. Love it. Love it. Okay. So let the people know how to find you if they want to connect with you, Dawn.
Yeah. So I'm with Flodesk, so you can find us at Flodesk. But if you want to hang out with me, I'm at It's Dawn Richardson on Instagram. And you can find me at techsavvycreative.com, and you can join my email list there.
Perfect. I will also add a link. So if you didn't write that down or you're driving or whatever, you can grab the link in the show notes here. But I'm so happy to have had you, Dawn. Thank you so much for being here and explaining deliverability, putting some of the chatter to rest, hopefully. And I think we'll have to do something like this again, because we have like 800 more ideas. So
I'm in. Sign me up.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you again. And I appreciate you so, so much.
Thank you.
You've got mail.